Hi, this is another one of those unusual experiences that might be helpful or informative, and I encourage you to consider the possibility. Though I would say some of these experiences that I've had have been not easy. So prepare yourself for something that might be beyond you or more than you can endure. And I'm going to share one of the experiences that was honestly more than I can endure. And it has so deeply affected me that I have to admit that I'm afraid of love. And the reason for that is I think that we all are. But my experience of this sweetness of love was so intense that it leaves a trace of it with me. And I was, for months, working on polishing my pineal. I know that sounds odd, but I did a variety of exercises, visualizations to music, particularly one piece of violin music I used a lot to polish my own pineal. And after several months of doing this, I'm meditating late one night, and something began to occur in my head, my brain, and right in the middle of my head, right where my pineal would be, there was the feeling of the presence of a white ball. But I was only aware of the very edge of it. And the very edge of it, the only way I can describe it is it was like the feeling of dry ice. If you've ever been around dry ice, it was something so brilliantly clean, so beautifully cold. It was like the edge of something intense. The only way I can describe it, and there are no human words to embody it, it would be bliss. So the first experience was an intense sweetness of bliss. But that intense sweetness of bliss was a form of honey. And the only way I can describe it, it is a honey made of love. But this love was not the kind of love that you would think about romantically. This was a single pinpoint on the edge of my pineal, and the intensity of this overwhelming love was like a sharpened, very cold needle being pressed into my pineal. And the only way I can describe it was unbearable. And I understood later the meaning of the word unbearable bliss. This was such a level of ecstatic, loving bliss. I was not and am not humanly prepared to experience it to the magnitude that is possible. Now, within a few minutes of it being wonderfully, intensely blissful, I was ready for it to stop because literally, emotionally or otherwise, it was unbearable. It literally felt like a small point of burning ice in my brain where you would do almost anything to scratch that itch or move it around, but there's no way to move it. It's right there and it's not going away. A few minutes, unbearable. A half an hour, unbearable. An hour, unbearable. 3 hours later, unbearable. And I am just utterly exhausted, unbearable. That this intense, sizzling ice was producing a substance like a honey that was now dripping down the inside of my brain, somehow associated with the back of my palate. Unbearable. 4 hours later, it's finally started to slow down. It took me another hour to come out of it. It took me days to be able to be anywhere near normal. Because then, whenever I looked around me, I realized I'm not composed of the capacity to feel it. What I mean by that is my inner preparation, my capacity to be alert, my capacity to feel, my capacity to embody, my capacity to experience and remember. It needed more preparation and still does. The experience was illuminating, but it was also painful. Painful, not like a human pain of something that is bitterly painful, but it was so intensely loving as to be indescribably penetrating, pervasive. It still calls me, but to this day, I don't go there. I'm still waiting for a greater sense of preparation so that I could actually experience this pristine inner bliss that the mother of silence procreates. So this was just an experience I'm sharing with you. So if you really want to have an experience like this, you can. You can go there, you can practice anatomically understanding the pineal, and then asking your own guides to help you do it. And I urge you that any one of these exercises that you might want to do on yourself, that you always ask your guides to come with you, to enable you to experience it within the boundaries of meaning and safety and purpose. So this is one of those experiences that I'm willing to share. And some of them are even harder than this. Maybe I'll tell you one of those some other time. See you.